Now, I don't know about anyone else. I just literally got back from seeing Inception. Have we seen that?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
I've heard good stuff about it.
I was blown away.
I definitely want to see it, but I want to wait until there's not a crowd in the theater because I like to be alone in the theater.
Me too, Pia.
We should go together. We should go together. I sit in the front.
Totally.
You sit in the back.
Not those kind of
the best thing about seeing movies is that you get to feed off of what everybody's feeling.
No, I hate people.
I do too.
Sprinkle with candy bags and talking.
I want it silent.
Texting and.
And welcome to this episode of SimplyScripts Radio. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants this go around. We just managed to put a few people together for our panel and scrounge up a guest who is familiar to people who've listened to previous shows, and he's actually got something new that he's going to share with us this time around. He's got a website which is, pardon, I guess my French, it's called NoBullshitScreenwriting.com. Welcome back to the show, Ron Osborn. How you doing, Ron?
Great. Thanks for having me, guys. Gal.
Yes, and just to fill everybody in, our panelists tonight are Jeff, also known as Dreamscale, and Pia, and Cornetto's floating around. I know he usually likes to play the producer role, but he might jump in and talk, so we'll welcome him as well. Ron, why don't you just, go ahead and just fill us in a little bit on, the basis of the website, what it's about.
Well, it kind of started during the 07-08 strike or a little bit afterwards, and I was just I had a lot of time on my hands and was looking at a number of these people who are dispensing a great deal of advice and had yet to sell anything and really work in the industry, and I was kind of stunned, kind of shocked at the amount of them. In fact, I had an assistant help me, and he looked up the number of sites, and I just got kind of upset by it all, and had been thinking about doing this, but really wasn't motivated to until I saw this. And so we started building the site a little while ago. It just literally got up and running recently, and it's just kind of based on the notion that I'm not necessarily the maven of all things screenwriting, but I have to believe that a working screenwriter and someone who's worked in half-hour feature rewrites, feature originals, feature production rewrites, knows a little more than the average person who's read Sid Field's book. And that was basically the origins of it. I have a few people helping me. And then I also had them give me price ranges and price this competitively and do all that. And it's also then becoming we're going to start doing some seminars, and I did a seminar in Hawaii last November on the Big Island, and it went very well, just a one-day seminar. And so we're going to try and test the waters with a two-day version as well, and see how that goes. But that's basically it. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to shill.
No, not a problem at all. Now, with the offer of the evaluation and script coverage and everything on your site, is that done solely by you, or do you have other people that are in on it and that they're doing it too?
No, ultimately that will be by me. If I were to get swamped, and that hasn't happened yet, I would probably have the basic coverage written up by an assistant, but no, ultimately I would have to take responsibility for the assessment of things.
Okay. Well, since, as I said, this is the fly by the seat of our pants episode, I'm actually looking at your website as, I'm talking to you, so I didn't have much time for prep, so I actually clicked on the favorite films to seriously consider, area, and I'm noticing second one from the top is Glengarry Glen Ross. also I'm sure a lot of people that are listening think that's a great movie as well. I particularly like the part when Alec Baldwin shows up, as I'm sure many other people do. Do you find do you like it for the dialogue, which is a strong Mamet suit, or is it's just a story in the whole or anything? Do you like other Mamet works?
Yeah, I'm a huge. Mamet, even when he's slumming, is interesting. Glengarry Glen Ross is a particularly favorite of mine because it's kind of the ultimate example of character as action. You know nothing about these people except as they exist in this world and how they interact with one another, and that is also that's a sterling example of subtext, and in fact I use it quite a bit. I've also been teaching for a number of years at my alma mater, Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, and I will show many times the examples that the two salesmen, the polar opposites in there, Shelley Levine, Jack Lemmon, and Al Pacino as Roma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's so funny because there's no subtext to Shelley Levine. He's literally, the moment he walks in, he is selling. He's trying. He's
ABC.
Yeah, ABC. Always be closing. That's right. And then there's Al Pacino, who's sitting down there with Jonathan. What's his name? Anyway, he's sitting there with his mark, and he's talking about everything but selling. But all the time he's selling. And it's just kind of magnificent. A friend of mine who is back east and in business, he's a salesman for office furniture, and he deals with huge accounts. He deals with Bank of America, things like this, and he said that, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, he said Glengarry Glen Ross had every business type in there. Every major personality that you deal with, the bully, the passive aggressive, the guy on the rise, the guy on the ascension. I mean, it's just a magnificent example of dialogue and subtext and character.
The big thing that I like about Mamet is, something that I've discovered is that I really enjoy movies that are based on plays. And not just Mamet, but, pretty much across the scope. One thing that we were thinking of discussing, before you agreed to be on the show was we're going to talk about our favorite movies. And one that I was going to talk about is, one called Butterflies Are Free, which, the movie came out in, I think, the early 70s. And, one of Goldie Hawn's earlier. So, I hear collective groans going on in the background there, but that's just me. I like a lot of dialogue. When I write a lot of dialogue, and I like the simplicity, with the minimal sets, for the most part, minimal characters, it's all very streamlined and straightforward.
And see here, I was going to talk about last year at Marienbad.
I've heard of that. I've never seen it.
You should.
It has subtitles. You wouldn't like it.
I
wouldn't say that.
I have a question too, which is kind of different from what you're talking about right now. But Ron, when you do read scripts, okay, we have had a lady on here, and she's been very successful with our show. Her name is Barbara Babs Bitella. She is an agent out there, and she's a very, very nice lady. Okay, so when she reads scripts, she very much goes by the save the cat formula. What are your thoughts and feelings about people when they do read scripts, looking at that and those steps, and if a script doesn't fall into,
I think
those beats?
a more general form of that question would be people who follow a formulaic pattern in their scripts. Do you think that's good business-wise, or do you think that's not really necessary?
Well, will you standard structure? Will you look at non-standard structure and not have a problem with it? I guess is another way of phrasing that.
Well, it's there's the story, there's the adage that the best direction is the direction you don't see, and I have now my third decade in here. I've come to resent the not the 3-act structure, but the rigidity of a number of books, and this is also something that prompted my website, that say by this page this must happen, and it's not that they're wrong, but